Hello students, welcome back to Karthikeya IAS Academy, NCERT modules, Polity topics. This is the second chapter of NCERT, class number 8. The second chapter is Understanding Secularism. So in the previous chapter, we have already discussed about what is meant by Indian Constitution and what is the meaning of secularism. But in this chapter, we are going to discuss about with the different examples of the models of USA secularism and the models of Indian secularism, etc. So here they have mentioned one example. Imagine yourself as a Hindu or Muslim living in America where the Christians' fundamentalism is very powerful. So if no one is willing to rent their house, for example, if you went to USA and no one is willing to give you rent, house for rent, then how do you feel like this? It seems to be like resentful. That is, it's a kind of complaint against discrimination. That means you will feel that so much uncomfortable, and sometimes you may get also angry. So your anger could take two forms. First one, you might react to saying that Christians should get the same treatment in places where Hindus and Muslims are in majority. And then the second one, retaliation. That is, you will go against to that, and you are looking for justice for all. So you may fight and stating that no one should be discriminated against on the grounds of their religion. So this is a chapter which talks about what is meant by secularism, right? And what is the secularism in Indian context also, right? So the history provides us many examples of discrimination. This is a paragraph which talks about how in different countries it has been treated. For example, the Jews were persecuted in Hitler's Germany, and how the several millions were killed. In the Second World War, you will identify the Hitler and how he persecuted and killed so many Jews. And now, however, the Jewish state of Israel treats its Muslims and Christians minorities quite badly. And in Saudi Arabia, the non-Muslims are not allowed to build a temple and church, and nor can they gather in a public place for prayers. So imagine, but how it is completely different in India. In the above examples, the members of one religious community either persecuted or discriminated against the members of other religious community. Are you getting my point, sir? You can imagine how the seriousness about the discrimination, especially related to religion. So, but in the Indian context, the state discriminate against citizens on the ground of religion. That is, in India, the state is completely independent of the religion, and the state means the government will give you a equal support to all the religions. Then the definition of secularism here mentioned. What is the definition of secularism? So see, the secularism refers to this separation of religion from the state. Very simple definition. That is, the constitution is also providing from article 25 to 28, that is right to religion. In 25 to 28, these are the provisions which talks about the secular nature of the country. So based on the religion, the states can be divided into three categories. The state can be divided into three categories. First one, a monocratic state, or you can say that as atheistic state. Atheistic state means the state will not believe in the religion. It will not support the religion. It will just believe on the tribal religious. And second religion is monocratic or theocratic. That is, for example, Pakistan. It will support only Islam community only. Then the state has a particular religious community. That is called monocratic state. And third category, that is secular state. In secular state, all the government will support all the religions equally, and it will not persecute a single religion based on the religion. Are you getting my point, sir? So that is the nature of the secular nature of India. So I'm going to go forward in this document and try to explain the different examples. Why it is important to separate religion from the state? Yeah, this is a major question. Why? Yes, it is important. For example, if a majority religious group has access to the power, then it could easily use its power and financial resources to discriminate against the persecuted the persons of the other religion. That is, they have the authority to simply misuse the power. So that is why it is very important that the separation of the state power from the religious affairs. Right? Then, however, if the state power in the hands of those Hindus who support untouchability, then it will become too much of aggressive towards the minority and depressed classes. So this is what about. So this is image they have mentioned, not important. So then, so what is the Indian secularism? He mentioned about three different definitions. That is, the Indian Constitution mandates that the Indian state can be secular. According to Constitution, only a secular state can realize its objectives to ensure the following. First one, the one religious community does not discriminate the other religious community. Second one, some members do not dominate others members of the same religious community. And third one, the state does not enforce any particular religion nor take away the religious freedom of individuals. So the secular nature he explained like this, right? Next I'm going to move forward. So he's trying to give another, in this page he's trying to give another storyboard. That is, a girl wanted to celebrate a festival regarding the religious festival. But the member who is in the school, he's trying to explain, I'm afraid that it is not possible to celebrate the religious festivals in the school because the government schools comes under the definition of the state. So the state should not celebrate a particular religious festivals. That is what it was explained in this topic. So here in the above storyboard, the celebration of religious festival within the school would have been a violation of the government's policy of treating all the religions equally. The government schools cannot promote any one religion either in morning prayers or through religious celebrations. But this does not apply to private schools. That means the private schools can celebrate the religious festivals. And next one, the second way in which the Indian secularism works to prevent about domination is through the strategy of non-interference. So nothing important here, just you can move forward. He's giving another example of how the state can give some particular importance to certain religious communities. For example, here one person wearing a helmet, and the second person who belongs to Sikh community does not wearing a helmet, and this person is asking why you are not wearing a helmet, you will be fined. Then this person is explained that no, this is known as pagri, so is very important part of religion, so the government cannot force me to wear a helmet. That is called parda, or you can say that pagri. Then in the above episode he is trying to explain this, right sir? So the same religion, upper caste Hindu dominate other members of the lower community. So in order to prevent this religion based exclusion and discrimination of lower caste, the Indian Constitution bans untouchability. Very, very, very important. Article 17 of the Indian Constitution mentioned about the abolition of untouchability. Article 17 is not a self-executory article. For execution, the Parliament has to make certain laws. That is, if you see that SC/ST Atrocities Prevention Act 1986, an important act. So like this, Article 17 is going to be implemented. The state is intervening in religious in order to end the social practice, that is beliefs and discriminations. Example, recently you can say that there is a concept called triple talaq system. There is a concept called triple talaq system. That is, as per the Sharia law, if the male member of the Islam community say talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times to the married women, that is his wife, then the divorce process has been completed. So this is a religious practice, but recently Supreme Court ordered that the triple talaq system is against to Article 14, that is right to equality, and Article 21, that is dignified life of women. Hence, the Parliament make an amendment that about this repeal of triple talaq system from the Sharia law. So that is the most important. That is, though the state is not completely independent of the religion, but it is trying to intervene certain parts of the religion whenever it is necessary. Right? Are you getting my points up? Yes. Similarly, to ensure that laws relating to equal inheritance rights are respected, the state may have to intervene in the religious space, personal laws of the communities. The personal laws, that is called, I already told you, the personal law, which example is Sharia law. That is triple talaq system, polygamy system. Likewise, I can explain. Then the intervention of the state can also be in the form of support. The Indian Constitution grants the right to religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. See, here religious communities, if this religious community is in minority, so finally the intervention of the state can also be in the form of support only. So that is, it is not against the practice of the religion. The Indian Constitution grants the right to religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. Right? We have already completed this one. I'm going to do like this. So he is trying to give an example how the difference of religious practices in USA and in India. In this paragraph, he is trying to explain. The first amendment of the US Constitution prohibits the legislature from making laws respecting an establishment of religion. What is the meaning of this establishment? That is, the legislature cannot interfere. The legislature cannot declare any religion or any religion as an official religion. That is, the legislature is not supposed to announce that any particular religion, for example, Christianity, so that is the state religion cannot be explained, cannot be announced like that. So nor they can give preference to one religion. In the USA, the separation between the state and religious means that neither the state nor the religion can interfere in the affairs of one another. That is, there is a strict separation of religion from the state. But there is a significant way in which Indian secularism is different from dominant understanding of secularism as practiced in United States of America. That is, in India, the state can interfere, but there should be some reasonable. In Indian secularism, though the state is not strictly separable from religion, it does maintain a principled distance from religion. This means that any interference in the religion by the state has to be based on the ideas that laid in the constitution. So, this is about how the religion and what is the secular nature of the Indian constitution. I have explained about the fundamental rights from article 25 to 28 talks about the secular nature of the country. Then, so if you, one more example, he's trying to explain in 1960s, France had faced a shortage of workers, and therefore it has provided visas for all the immigrants to come to work in the country. So when these immigrants came to work in that country and settled there, in February 2004, the France government has passed a law banning students from wearing any conspicuous religious or political signs or symbols such as Islamic handcuffs or Jewish skull caps or large Christian crosses should be banned. So, however, with the passing of this new law, they have been expelled from their school for wearing the handscarves. So, this is a kind of discrimination based on religion. You can quote some example here. So, finally, you can understand this chapter is going to be completed. It's just 15 minutes of the topic, very simple topic. And last question. And finally, so this is an important case study. So where you have to remember, my dear students, this is very, very, very important. So what is the importance in this? I'm going to explain. So if you see the case of S.R. Bommai versus Union of India 1994, S.R. Bommai versus Union of India 1994, the Supreme Court held that secularism is one of the basic feature of the Indian Constitution. The Supreme Court said that secularism cannot be separated from the India, that is from Constitution, and the Constitution, that is the legislature, should not make any laws which are against to the religion. and secularism is a positive concept of equal treatment for all the religions. So there will be one question, expected questions in the examinations, that is, which of the following case studies the Supreme Court talks about secularism is a basic structure of the Constitution? So the answer would be S.R. Bommai versus Union of India case 1994. Right, my dear students? So this is an important chapter where you have to remember. So these are the topics which we have discussed for today. Right? Thank you very much. Have a nice day.